Testing 1 2 1 2 testing. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Belong launch at church. It's been really, for some of us, a bit of a long time coming. It's been a special build-up, particularly over the last month, and we are thrilled you're all here. As you arrived, you would have noticed that there's a few changes, right? You would have noticed that there's a few things that have been done around the place, all with the hope that we'll have that great sense of belonging here at RPAC. And so, the other good news for this week, wasn't it that restrictions are loosening again, which is great for us at church. No QR code checking in today, but today we still need to keep our masks on, but this will be the last Sunday, we think. We'll have to keep our masks on. We'll still sing with them on today, if that's okay. Next week, we can all look forward to no masks, no singing inside church. So what we're going to do now is we're going to stand and sing our first song. Please stand.
And the first song we're going to do is a new one that we learned a couple of weeks ago called King of Kings. Beautiful song. Renee's going to lead us off with it, but you join her if you know that verse. If you're not sure of the verse, just listen to her sing it and then you'll get the idea of it. And the chorus is really simple. Praise the Father, praise the Son. Here we go.
In the darkness we were waiting, without hope, without light, till from heaven you came running. There was mercy in your eyes, to fulfill the law and prophets. To a virgin came the word, from a throne of endless glory, to a cradle in the dirt.
Here we go. Praise the Father.
Praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings.
Second verse. Here we go.
To reveal the kingdom coming and to reconcile the lost, to redeem the whole creation. You did not despise the cross, for even in your suffering you saw to the other side, knowing this was our salvation. Jesus, for our sake you died.
Now you know the chorus well now. Sing it up. Here we go.
Praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings.
Third verse. Together.
In the morning that you rose, all of heaven held its breath, till that stone was moved for good, for the Lamb had conquered death. And the dead rose from their tombs, and the angels stood in awe, for the souls of all who'd come to the Father are restored.
And the church
Of Christ was born, and the Spirit lit the flame. Now this gospel truth of old shall not kneel, shall not faint. His blood and in His name, in His freedom I am free. For the love of Jesus Christ, who has resurrected me.
Okay, chorus. Here we go.
Praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, the King of Kings. Praise forever to the King of Kings.
Please take a seat. What a great way to start a service, being reminded of some wonderful truths about why we gather, praising the Father, praising the Son, praising the Holy Spirit. Some wonderful things there in that song for us to remember. And it really is today such a special day to gather. 9:30 is a special service time. We're combining our morning services over the next 6 weeks for this Belong launch series, a series that we're calling Belong. At the end of each service, we're going to stay and we're going to have lunch together in that fantastic new outdoor space we've got outside. Over the next 6 weeks, we'll be eating together, not only having church together in here at 9:30, but we'll be eating together. So, why is that? Why are we doing that as a church? And why this Belong series? I just want to take just the next little while to tell you something about that. And if you can have handy those things that you received on your way in from our wonderful welcomers. You had a set of postcards. I'm going to talk to you about those in a second. You can have those ready if you like. You might want to untie the twine if you haven't already done that. Have those ready. There are 6 cards there, and it's no accident that they line up with the 6 weeks of this special series. You've got an envelope there. I'll get you to not open that just yet. Just hang on to that till I ask you to open it. There's a letter in there from me to you and a flyer in there. I'm going to explain that again soon. They're the main things I want to talk about now, because there's a purpose to this. There's a purpose to our encouraging each other as a church to gather like this Sunday to Sunday, because every so often it's good for God's family, the church, to reassess where it's heading and how it intends to get there. This is something that we've really been conscious of at RPAC for many years, in particular since 2014, when we began on a season of revitalising and rebuilding and re-envisioning our church to be all that God has called us to be. Now, a key time came for us late in 2016 when we committed to a strategy for our church called 5 Purposes, 1 Church, where we adopted the 5 purposes of a church, which were mission and magnification and membership and maturity and ministry. Now, this was a helpful structure for our church for a time, having seen fruit across most of those 5 areas, but in more recent times, we began wondering if it would be the best approach for RPAC into the future. Now, there's more than one factor that we were considering when we were thinking about that, and the effectiveness of this 5Ms model and how we were organising ourselves with a growing number of people in our church and community with increasing needs. How were we best placed to care for them? Coming out of 2 difficult years of a COVID pandemic, as a church, as an individual, it has taken its toll on us. So this time was a time to be reminded of the main things. What were the main things? We felt a growing sense of the need to improve our inclusivity, our friendship, our sense of family being experienced for everyone at RPAC. And so with all of this in mind, and with a strong desire to keep the main things the main thing at RPAC, a refreshing improvement of our purposes as a church and how we organise ourselves has begun. And this is how the Belong series was born. And so harnessing the strengths of that EMS model, we've come up with our own purposes and a structure that we believe will best serve RPAC and our hopes and our dreams and our prayers for the future. We've created 6 new areas within RPAC-Church to serve these purposes, and they are all in those postcards there, those lovely, glossy, helpful postcards that you all received. Our hope is to build teams around these areas to serve our church as it grows and as it changes into the future. So here are our 6 teams in your postcards there right in front of you. Belong, grow, care, kids and youth, share and gather. You've got a nice little explanation on the back of those cards. And each week that you come to church, you'll get an A4 handout like this, as was on your seat when you arrived, for you to go take away today and have a read of this week. The series will correspond with our growth group studies that we'll be doing each week. And if you're in a growth group or not, we're still encouraging you to grab a set of these studies. They're out on the Welcome Hub as you arrived. There's this version, there's an A4 version if you want something a bit bigger. Really important that we're reading, praying, considering these 6 teams. Each of these areas we're going to talk about each Sunday and do the corresponding studies during the week. So this sermon series will help us think through how we best organise ourselves and structure ourselves around these areas to achieve these great aims that God has for us in his church. After all, we are a church on mission. God's mission for the world as shown to us through his son Jesus. That is, as a church, we hope to see lives transformed through Jesus, all for God's glory. It's my hope that this wonderful Belong series, the sermons, the studies over the next 6 weeks will help each of us gain clarity and insight into what God would want for us as his people and his church as we consider who and what God has called us to be and to do. You know, lots of people have been involved in making this day a reality, but I'm incredibly thankful for Dan for much of the thinking, the writing and the planning behind this series. Dan is going to be kicking off the Belong part of this series today with a sermon, and I hope, like me, you're really looking forward to hearing about that. You've got your postcards. We want you to take them. We want you to take some of them for your friends too. If you think you want to share with some of your friends about what your church is up to and what it's on about, these postcards will form a part of our welcome packs so that when people do come and they go, what is RPAC on about? We'll give them a set of these 6 postcards and we'll go, here's what we're on about. They're hopefully something that will really serve us well. Now, I want you to turn your attention to the envelope that you received from me. How about we open up our envelopes now? I'm going to give this one to my mum later. I hope she doesn't mind that I've opened it for her. Maybe I can reseal it, secretly reseal it. There's a letter in there. I'm going to get you to just hang on to that, take that home, and read that later. Is that okay? I hope you can take that home and read that later. I'd really appreciate it if you would read it later, because it'll talk a bit more about the thinking behind this series and a bit more about why we have series like this. For instance, we love to stop and we love to celebrate. Today is all about celebrating. This whole series is about celebrating and giving joy, even experiencing joy, even though we have been through such a difficult time these last couple of years. This series will culminate in a celebration Sunday on the 27th of March. Let me talk to you about these one-off gift cards. Now, each year we have these one-off gifts. If you're new to church or you're just visiting now, this is just something that we like to do to put, as a church, to put our commitment into action where we're able, where we feel led. And so I'm going to get you to open those up now. Each year, as we celebrate, as we experience joy, as we recommit ourselves to God, we give ourselves opportunities to put our commitment into action and to get behind some projects for the year. Let me just quickly tell you about 3 of the one-off gift areas that we have this year. Growing our ministry to the next generation. We're thrilled that a couple of years ago we were able to invite Dan and Renee to join us. It's especially to work amongst our youth and our young adults. And we're excited with the fruit that we've been able to see over these last couple of years. We would love to keep supporting Dan and Renee in that work that they're doing with us. And so we need your support as a church to keep making that happen. That's one-off gift flyer option number 1. Number 2, growing our ministry to children and families. We've had such a great history as a church of working amongst families and children. This is an area we want to keep supporting and we want to keep growing. We've recognised as a church that without more families and kids, we're not truly reflecting our demographic of our area, where there are many thousands of families and children in our area. We've got 5 primary schools that we look after in SRE, and so we know there's lots of kids out there, and we truly want to see more kids and families join us as a church. We want to see those that serve us here already in that space to be getting the support that they need. Dan and Kiralee and Kerry have been talking about a long prayed for afternoon kids club. We're hoping to start that this year. We're hoping that in 2023 we can support someone to come and work with us, like a 1 day a week kids worker to come and help support that work and help grow that work. That's option number 2. Option number 3, we want to keep improving the belonging, the community, the friendship and the family, and we've recognised our spaces, and especially our outside space, to be a really key area. As you can see, just the small improvements, really just the small improvements we've made just these past few days. What an impact that has made already. We'd like to keep expanding and adding to that space so that when people arrive, they get a real sense of belonging and family, and this is a space that I want to be a part of. That's option number 3, improving our outdoor community space. And of course, option number 4 is My Church, My Ministry, where you're not sure what the best way would be to use your gift, and you're allowing their parish council to make that decision. So please take that away, particularly I'm asking for our regular members here to take that away, have a read over that, have a pray about that, take that letter, read over that, pray about that, and like I will and like all of us will, we'll allow God to lead us in that. So please do that. There's a big intro really to our series, and I think I've said everything I need to say at the moment, and so that means we're going to sing again. Please stand and sing.
It's a beautiful hymn, this one. Think carefully about the words as we sing through it. It's one of my favourites. It's one of the benefits of playing music. I get to pick a song that's a favourite of mine. So the message is clear. If you want a favourite, learn the piano. Together. Before the throne of God above, I have a strong and mighty plea, a great high priest whose name is love, whoever lives and pleads for me. My name is graven on his heart, my name is written on his heart. I know that while in heaven he stands, no tongue can bid me hence depart. No tongue can bid me hence depart. Satan tempts me to despair and tells me of my guilt within. A wounded look and see him there, who made an end to all my sin. Because the sinless Saviour died, my sinful soul is counted free. Oh God, the just is satisfied to look on him and pardon me. To look on him and pardon me. Behold him there, the risen Lamb, my perfect, spotless righteousness, the great unchangeable I am, the King of glory and of grace. The one who serve I cannot die.
my Savior and my God.
Good morning. The reading is Romans chapter 12, reading from verse 3 to 13. You can look it up on your phone or an actual Bible if you have one. For by the grace given me, I say to every one of you, do not think of yourself more highly than you ought, but rather think of yourself with sober judgment, in accordance with the faith God has distributed to each of you. For just as each of us has one body with many members, and these members do not all have the same function, so in Christ we, though many, form one body, and each member belongs to all the others. We have different gifts according to the grace given to each of us. If your gift is prophesying, then prophesy in accordance with your faith. If it is serving, then serve. If it is teaching, then teach. If it is to encourage, then give encouragement. If it is giving, then give generously. If it is to lead, do it diligently. If it is to show mercy, do it cheerfully. Love must be sincere. Hate what is evil, cling to what is good. Be devoted to one another in love. Honour one another above yourselves. Never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervour, serving the Lord. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Share with the Lord's people who are in need. Practice hospitality.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Dan, one of the pastors here at RPAC-Church. If I haven't met you before, it's nice to welcome you here at church. I'll very much look forward to getting to know you, to meeting you. Today's an exciting day. I've got a little communion cup here. Today is a very exciting day. I guess it would be nice to start by saying a few thank yous to people who've helped us pull this day and this series together. I'll probably miss some people, but Beck and Sandra and John and Joe and Jared and Renee, and I'm sure some others as well, have worked hard to help us create and craft this space, to help us craft and create this series, to think through, or raise another person, sorry, to think through this series and how it would be best for us to go about enjoying these 6 weeks of family and community together. I'm not sure if you've noticed, but it kind of feels, the way we've set things up, a little bit like a party, like a celebration. Kiralee got here the other day, I remember, and she was like, it looks quite festive. And I was like, that's the idea. It is festive. We are celebrating. There's bunting, there's lights, there's food. We've had music playing, flashy postcards, new stuff outside. And just in case you're left with any doubt with regards to our thinking and our minds for these 6 weeks, we want these 6 weeks to be one big 6-week-long celebration. And what are we celebrating, you might ask? What is worth celebrating? Is someone getting married? No. Is someone getting baptized? No, that was a few weeks ago. We didn't go anywhere near this trouble for that. I'll tell you what we're celebrating. What we're celebrating these 6 weeks is that we are a church. We're celebrating this church, RPAC-Church. And you might say, well, there's nothing new there, really. We were a church last week, and we'll be a church next week too. There's nothing particularly special about the date, February 20. And so maybe, what's the point in celebrating together? What's so special about this 6 weeks? To which I would say to you, why wouldn't we want to celebrate? Why wouldn't we want to celebrate our church? Take my wife, Renee, for example. Every year, since she was born, the people in her life have decided to celebrate her on the 20th of April. But why? It's not like there's anything particularly special about someone being born. I mean, everyone was born once upon a time. And there's not anything particularly special about that day, the 20th of April, except that just happened to be the day that her mother gave birth to her. There's nothing particularly special about the day, but I'll tell you what, and I might be a bit biased, but I'll tell you, there is a whole lot worth celebrating about her. She is worth the celebration, as I know many of you know. And so, even though the people in Renee's life, they don't need to, even though in some senses Renee barely changes between the 19th of April and the 21st of April, as her birthday rolls around, even though they don't need to, the people who are close to Renee, they decide that she is worth celebrating, that on this one day, they're going to pause and they're going to come together and reflect on everything that is special about her. And they're going to remember why she's so important to them. And they're going to party and they're going to celebrate. Why? Because she is worth partying and celebrating about, even if just for one day. She deserves to be remembered, to be honored, and to be loved. And so I ask you, is our church not worth celebrating too? Might it not be special to take these 6 weeks to remember our church and to celebrate it and to party together? And we don't just want to party. We want this celebration, this festival at RPAC, we want it to be a significant moment for our church family and its life. My hope, and I know Jared's hope too, is that we will remember today and that we will remember these 6 weeks. If it is God's will, and I pray that it is God's will, let this be the moment where 2 years of COVID, heavy, dark clouds finally begin to part and the sun finally begin to shine through those clouds. These past 2 years as a church, I have to say, I've been here, this will be Renee and I's 4th year now among you. And I know Jared would say this as well. Given what the past 2 years have been, we are incredibly proud of you. We, as a church family, have shown our resilience and our strength and our deep sense of duty to one another and our care for one another. And even with all these past 2 years have thrown at us, months at a time where we could not actually be in the same room with one another, we are standing here still. We are sitting, but we are still here. We're a church. We're a family. We're brothers and sisters in Christ, and we have endured and persevered, and we have remained. Why? How? We have done it because our church is built upon a solid rock foundation. And that solid rock foundation is the love and truth of Jesus Christ that gives us all the strength we could ever need, no matter how dark things get. It allows us to persevere through any storm. A church that is built on the truth and love of Jesus can weather any storm. And so we